Just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, Chris Blodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. Today's topic is going to be random candy discussion. This is episode 113. Once again, guys, welcome. Appreciate you being here. The inspiration for today's topic kind of comes from a little random conversation I've been having with my bro Rico. Again, you guys check out his podcast. Go to blodgeshow.com/Rico, RICCO. That's blodgeshow.com/RICCO. He's working on some episodes and whatnot, and he will get more potent. He did, because we were talking about it. He did say that he doesn't want to do the podcast, just struggle with inspiration and stuff, which I totally get. I've had weeks like that too. But I know for me, if I stop, if I let it go a week or two without doing any episodes at all, then it's harder for me to come back. So it's the same thing with the writing. If I don't write for a while, then it's hard for me to get motivated enough to get back at it and stuff. So I'm always about moving forward and whatnot. But yeah, because I'm literally at the time of this recording. It's early Sunday morning. I did a load in Knoxville and Kodak last night, and basically, I'm probably like maybe 40 minutes out, 30 or 40 minutes out from Nashville. So that's why I thought, well, I better go ahead and get this get Real Talk Tuesday recorded. And of course, funny thing was, I was kind of hoping to get a like a suggestion, like an idea or whatever, when going back, because basically like he gets up pretty early, and I got a voice clip from him probably about an hour and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer. We've probably been voice clipping for a little bit longer than that, maybe like 2 hours. But one of the clips, I basically was like, so bro, what do you what would you recommend? Like, would you have any suggestions about what this Real Talk episode for this week, what the topic should be, and for whatever reason we kind of got on the topic of candy, and I was mentioning to him a little bit about how and maybe some of you can relate. That's why I figured maybe this might make a real good Real Talk topic, because maybe some of you guys can relate to what I do. Me and Rico, it sounds like we both do the same thing. Maybe some of you can relate to what my youngest, what she does. Because let's take the topic of Twix, for instance. When I was telling Rico, I said, well, my kiddo thinks that I'm weird because every time I get a Twix, I literally will bite the top half off, exposing the cookie underneath. And and I'll you do it in a couple bites because of course Twix is pretty long. It's like what, like 4 or 5 inches long. And take a couple bites until the full cookie's exposed, and then like literally I'll show my daughter, I'll show my kiddo, and because she's like, that's weird, Dad. That's not how you're supposed to eat it. And she'll just eat the Twix, normal like. She'll just be taking bites or whatever, eating from one to the other, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So there's no, basically that's what I told Rico. I said, yeah, that's kind of what I do. I'll literally bite the top off, exposing the cookie, and then I'll show it to my kiddo, and she just shakes her head, sighs, whatever. It's like, that's weird, He responded back. He's like, you eat the Twix exactly how I do, man. Cause like you're like, if you're a real Twix lover, you literally, that's how you eat the top part off the Twix, and then you save the cookie for last. I was like, yeah. And I told him, I was like, well, take Kit Kats for instance. I said, like Kit Kats, I'll do the same thing. I won't bite it, but like you can take it with your, like holding it in one hand and using your other hand, and you can easily, you can pull off like the top couple of wafers off the Kit Kat, reveal it just a plain wafer. And so I'll do that too, and I'll I'll do that when around my kiddo or whatever, and of course I'll show it to her. Like, hey, oh look, and she'll just shake her head. So, we got on the topic of whatchamacallits, and I was like, yeah, I was like, I know I've had them. Like, I know I've had a whatchamacallit, probably like it's been a while. I was like, I don't remember how long ago, but I know I've had them at least once. And I guess he said there's another one out there that's I guess it's like a sister candy bar to the whatchamacallit. I guess it's called the Whatchamahoozit. I guess it's like a peanut butter one. I guess whatchamacallit is more like the Rice Krispie treat type candy bar, and I guess Whatchamahoozit, I guess it's candy. It's like peanut butter. And I was like, I don't think I've had that one. I was like, I might actually like that one because I am a big peanut butter fan. Probably one of my main go-tos when it comes to candy bar is probably the peanut butter cup. Because I love the peanut butter cup. Fucking awesome. And now they got peanut butter cups that are even bigger, like the Reese's Big Cup. And now they've got ones that are not just the bigger ones, but they got Reese's Pieces in the actual peanut butter cups. It's like, oh crap. And I think there's ones that even have like caramel or whatever. And that's another topic for too, like, do you pronounce it caramel or do you pronounce it caramel? Just like Rico had mentioned, like the whole how the Twix has like the left Twix, the right Twix, and he made a comment about like, I don't care what they say, I don't care what y'all say, they're different. But then of course when we're going back and forth, he goes, well, I mean they're the same, they're pretty much the same, but they're different. If that makes sense. I said not really. I'm not really familiar with I was like, I've seen the commercials, left Twix, right Twix. I said, aren't they both the same? That's kind of it. And he goes, well, that's the thing, like, they're basically the same, but when I eat, it's like, I don't know if it's a brain thing, because when I eat a left Twix, and then I eat a right Twix right afterwards, I can taste it's like, they taste different to me, but, if I, and so I was like, well, that I guess that makes sense a little bit. He goes, but when he's talking about it, he's like, yeah, but I don't know if that's just because it's a brain thing. Like, in my head, I'm thinking it's left and right, so they're different. So when you eat them, you think you pick up on a difference. So, I mean, that would make sense. I've never eaten a left and right, so I've just had Twix. I don't know if the ones I've had have been left or right. Because honestly, like, when you get them at the store, I don't remember it. I just remember it being like the silverish package, and looking basically like a Twix. I didn't say left or right, I don't think. So I was like, how do you tell? Like, do they actually are the ones that are like that are packaged differently? They say left, and or is it a different color? I don't know. I have no idea. But you know, I'm already having fun with this episode because it's like, you know, with the you know, the fact that I'm all about real talk, you know, keeping it real and trying to come up with interesting topics. And I think I got a pretty good one today. You know, what do you guys think? You know, if any comments, questions, or feedback or whatever, feel free to, you know, drop me an email at blotchedshowpodcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, please feel free to go on the, you know, wherever you're listening to these episodes. If you're able to, you know, if it lets you, if it's, depending on what platform, I don't know if all platforms let you rate, but if it does, if you would do a, you know, give me a 5-star rating, I'd appreciate it. You know, wouldn't complain at all. And anybody that wants to support the show, feel free to go to blotchedshow.com/support and do a, you know. But back to Candy. I was telling Rico, I was like, you know, ever since I said before I got diagnosed as a diabetic, I was like, I've never, wasn't really, you know, maybe it's just, you know, taste buds just developed or changed or whatever, you know. But before that, I noticed that, like, I wasn't really that big on the sweets. Like, I would do stuff. Like, I would do a piece of cake here or there, like if somebody had a birthday, or do ice cream or whatever, you know. But it wasn't really that much. Like, you know, I said part of my problem though is, you know, not being big on the sweets or candy or anything like that. But, you know, part of the problem is the fact that I'm married to a pastry chef, and so there's often some sweets, some very good, I would say, not usually the healthiest treats in the home, because of course my wife, she you know, she'll randomly end up in the kitchen just baking up a storm, and all of a sudden there's like take last night for instance. Before going to work, literally my wife came out of the kitchen, she's like, all right, there's like 3 big ass trays of muffins. I don't know what kind of muffins, but I know, like, I guess there's like strudel on top or whatever, or streusel on top. Because you know, she came in and handed me one, handed my oldest one, handed our grandson one. The youngest, she was upstairs, I think, passed out or whatever. So of course I ate a nice warm muffin, and then I you know, when I left to go to the truck, I brought 2 with me. You know, threw them in my bag. And I commented in our group chat. I said, Al, I really like because the top part of the muffin was actually it had a little bit of a crunchiness to it. I said, I really like that. I thought that was really good. She goes, yeah, it's a streusel or whatever. I'm like, cool. Okay. But the funny thing is, like, you know, like, because, you know, some nights there'll be a dinner made at home, you know, and I'll get up, which texts me saying she's going to bed. She's like, dinner's on the stove. But it's quite a few nights where, you know, because I know she's in a lot of pain, she's always tired, so it's like, I don't expect it. I'm always surprised when she does, but I can always tell, like, if she messages saying she's going straight to bed, hey, good night, love you, I'm like, well, you know, I'm thinking like, well, gotta figure out something when I get home, which is fine, you know, it's all good. But so last night basically was one of those nights where, you know, keep it like 11:30 or so at night, you know, get the night, love you, you know, the night, love. And I'm thinking to myself, like, so we got muffins, but, you know, she wasn't up for dinner, which is, again, I'm like, you know, after all the years of being on the road, kind of being on my own anyway, I'm used to figuring my own shit out. Don't get me wrong, I'm really grateful and appreciative whenever she does, whenever, like, I do come home to something that's on the stove ready to eat, you know, but I understand that she's got a lot going on too, but that's the funny thing, back to the sweets topic a little bit, is that I don't know how long she was in the kitchen working on the muffins, because I had to run out and do some errands, because I had to pick up you know, something from CVS for my oldest, because it's it's like a hair treatment or whatever. You know how it is. You know, kids go to school or whatever, and they come home and they got like lice or whatever. So it's like, ah, crap. So the grandson, of course, had some issues. So she was having to treat his hair or whatever and go through all that fun stuff. But so I was out of the apartment for a while. So she was. When I came back briefly, because I had to come back, hit the bathroom, and because I tried Kroger first, only to go back down to. I was gonna go back down to CVS, but I was like, my stomach was a knot. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try one other place, but I need to come home and hit the bathroom first because it's kind of twisted. So when I came home to hit the bathroom, my wife was in the kitchen working on I don't know what she was cooking on. It was like a couple of pots that she had going, and I was like, I didn't think it was muffins or sweets. I thought random, food that she was making. Until, like I said, just before going to work, and she walks in and hands us all these nice warm muffins, and oh, cool, all right, thanks. But there's days I'll come home from work and there'll be like a couple dozen random cookies that are in a little tower on the table or whatever. And so part of what I was joking with Rico about as far as being the diabetic and like not really having been much into sweets in general. I said it's been a little bit hard because it's been a little difficult because of the fact that like you try to avoid, okay, I'm gonna try to eat healthy, but then you're married to a pastry chef that's making all these goodies at home. So it's like, oh man, not complaining at all, just kind of find it funny. But so it's like, Rico and I going back and forth, and I'd mentioned like, yeah, I said we could always try to do the Snickers the same way we do the Twix. Like we'd try to bite the top part off of the Snickers. Rico's like, yeah, when I do the Snickers, I typically like to freeze them because the nougat gets stuck to my teeth, but it doesn't if it's frozen. I was like, yeah, it makes sense, at least like, have you ever had what about a Heath bar? I think it was a Heath bar, I think. Like, here's where it kind of got funny a little bit, because like, he said, have you ever had a Heath bar? And on that same message, before I could even respond, it was, have you ever had a Heath bar? And then, why the hell do we do that? Like, how the hell do we get all this, talk about, like, candy or whatever? I said, I don't fucking know. It's like, we're just going back and forth, and somehow we ended up on the topic of candy in general, but we were talking about different candy bars or whatever. And I joked with him, I was like, man, this is why I want to figure out how to do a recorded conversation and have it be for the podcast. Like, we're just shooting the shit back and forth and have it be, have it be some of the Real Talk episodes, Because a little shout out to like probably the two main podcasts I'm actually listening to right now, which one of them is called What Was That Like, with the host Scott Johnson. If you guys haven't seen that or haven't started tuning into that one, you guys really should. It's really awesome. He interviews people about very unique situations that have happened, and everything's always, every episode there's always something. You're never gonna be left disappointed after an episode. Like, there's even been episodes where with him, because I had to catch up. I had to binge listen from like episode 1 all the way to like, I think he's like up 180 something now, but I finally caught up. It's been going for a couple years, but I started probably about 8 months or a year back. Maybe not quite that far back, but probably like 8 months, maybe. I don't know. And I started, listening to his podcasts while I was going back and forth between Illinois and Tennessee, because of course it's like 4 hours up, 4 hours back, and a lot of his episodes are like hour and a half long. So it still took me a bit to get all the way through. And a couple months back, I finally got current I'd gotten to one episode that, like, I literally, because I mean, he gives out his email, you know, like, and I think he even has a podcast phone number that no human answers. He just basically, you're able to call, leave a voicemail, and, you know, leave a story that sometimes he might include on his episode or on his podcast, which is pretty cool. And but I've even had to send him an email, or I think I did a voicemail once too, about one of his episodes, basically because whatever had happened out there, and the episode kind of ended without you really knowing what happened to the person that they were talking about. And so I did a voice message, and I would say, like, "Hey Scott, hey, this is Chris. Chris Blodgett." When I did the first one, I basically let him know, like, "Hey, I've got my own podcast, it's Blodgett Show podcast, whatever. But when I'm not doing that, I'm catching up on yours." I said I'm almost caught up on all the way to the current ones, and I said I was just listening to such and such, and it was this one with this guy that had, it just talked about, like, 1 minute he's sitting at the table and next he's dead. I was like, but you didn't cover what happened. Like, what happened to him? And he replied back. He was, I think it was a heart attack. And I was like, oh wow, okay. And then there are other ones I sent a message basically saying, like, wow, that I just got through such and such episode, and that was really awesome. You should really, I was like, man, that was, I'm just blown away, Scott. Keep it up, man. This is awesome. And then, of course, he's partnered with Meredith for Meredith for Real, the Curious Introvert, which that's what I'm currently on. Since I'm all caught up with What Was That Like, I'm now catching that every other week whenever it has a new one. Meredith, I'm kind of like, I think I just got to like 101 out of like 260 or something that she has. A lot of hers are 30 minutes long, so it's been easier to kind of catch up with hers. But with hers is really an awesome podcast too, and shout out to Meredith, shout out to Scott. You guys are pretty awesome. But Meredith is the same way. She's like interviewing. She has like questions for like people that she finds paradoxical. And so a lot of random. There's been a lot of very good topics. So if you guys are looking for some good podcasts to tune into, look for What Was That Like, and Meredith for Real, the Curious Introvert, and of course check out my Bro Rico's podcast, BlodgettShow.com/Rico. But I got a little bit off from the current, what we're currently talking about with the candy. So, question for you guys, like, what do you like? All right, like, well, firstly, if you're listening to this, are you a candy person? Like, do you like candy in general? Do you like candy bars? Like, what's your favorite kind of candy? And, like, how many of you out there, I'd be curious to find out, like how many people out there are like me and Rico, where we bite the top part off the Twix, just have the cookie afterwards, or how many of you would be like my daughter, and kind of look at the rest of us kind of funny, like, you're not supposed to eat it like that. Like, yeah, you are. That's the way you're supposed to eat a Twix, bite the top off the Twix. It's like, no, it's not that. That's not. It's really weird. Like, okay, well then I guess I'm weird. Or like when I take the top part off of the Kit Kats, and have the wafer, top part with the wafer and the chocolate, and the bottom half showing the bare wafer and the chocolate. My daughter again looking at me like shaking her head. I'm like, yeah, you love me. She goes, I do, but you're weird. I never claimed not to be weird, but I think at one point, one of the voice clips that Rico had sent me, had asked me about, he said, like, hey, have you ever had, I can't remember, Fun Dip, I think is what they're called. He's like, have you ever had Fun Dip? That's like the Kool-Aid powder with the little candy sticks. You basically, you kind of like, it's like you kind of lick the candy stick and then you put it in the powder. And, it kind of sticks to it, and then of course you can lick the Kool-Aid powder off the stick or whatever. And then after you're done, you can eat the candy stick. And he'd said like when he was a kid, he really loved those Fun Dips, but then he tried it again when he was in his 30s. And he was like, man, he thought he basically was like, oh man, this tastes like crap. I actually liked this when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, well, I know like even those, it's been a while since I've had them. But I was like, yeah, I've had those before. I thought they were pretty good, you know. But again, it's like the whatchamacallits. I don't remember how long. I don't remember how far back because I see them in the store, but I don't really. I try to be good. Again, this is a diabetic married to a pastry chef who technically is also diabetic. Not as bad as I am, but you know, I try to make the best decisions food-wise, you know, as much as possible. But can I say, you know, I've actually grown, and I was telling, this is another thing I mentioned to Rico too, was like about the fact that like I used to not really be that much of the sweets. Like we'd have like I said, the cake, we'd have a full cake, and like most of it would get thrown away a week later because it just wouldn't get eaten. But now it's kind of weird. I actually like, especially with buttercream. You know, I'm not a huge fan of like the whipping cream frosting. You know, that's light, fluffy, doesn't really have as much sweetness, much flavor to it. I like the buttercream frosting where it's like, you know, really flavorful, nice and sweet. You know, not overly sweet, but sweet enough. You know, and I'm one of my bigger weaknesses is definitely cheesecake. Cheesecake has always been one of those things like we'll go out to eat and we'll be at the restaurant, and of course, you know, having had like whatever meal I might have had like let's say for instance going to like Olive Garden or something, and my go-to at Olive Garden usually is the tour. I think it's called the Tour of Italy. It's got like lasagna, I think it's got chicken parm and spaghetti. And so like, you know, we'll get done with our meal, and of course, hey, can I interest you guys anybody in dessert? And try to be good. I'll be like, no, I think we're good. And my wife will be like, well, what do you guys have? And of course, they'll start listing stuff, and they'll mention cheesecake, and my wife literally just goes, oh. And they looks over at me, and I'm like, damn it. So I'm like, I guess I'll get cheesecake. So, but you know, that's just how it is, you know. But telling Rico about how like I used to not really be into it much, and then now for whatever reason, now it's like I'm like, ooh, I love man. I'm like cake especially. Oh man, it was so awesome. And I can't explain it. I don't know why it's different. But yeah, it's kind of funny. But kind of just trying to think here for a second. It's like, you know, there's so many things that we could talk about as far as sweets and candy go, whatever, you know. But I know this episode will be a little more short and sweet. See what I did there? Instead of like an hour long, 45 minutes or an hour, already getting ready to get back to the hub in the next probably 5 or 10 minutes. So it's like probably be drawing this episode to a close here shortly. But so, what is your favorite candy bar, or do you not like candy bars? When it comes to candy bar, there's one thing that when I get my cappuccinos, when I stop at like Thornton's, one of the cappuccinos that I usually when I go there, I'll get the one called the Heath. It's called the Heath Bar Cappuccino. Oh my god, that's pretty good stuff. Most places it's the French vanilla or sometimes the caramel macchiato cappuccino, or caramel mocha cappuccino or something. But at Thornton's, they're the ones that actually have the Heath Bar cappuccino, whatever. And I'll be like, oh, let's go ahead and get that one. Of course, the other night, I ended up, like, literally they have 2 machines, and all 4, 6 like 4 or 5 different flavors in each machine, and they all are coming out like clear water. Like they didn't have, like, for whatever, it must have been out of the powder or whatever. So I was like, well, shit. And I was like, well, I don't want to stop again. Like, this is where I was stopping to get my cappuccino and get maybe a bag of Cheeto Puffs or something. And so I went over and I noticed they had iced coffee. You know, a little iced coffee machine that had like 3 flavors. You know, one of them was like French vanilla, iced coffee, whatever. Where I guess you just put your cup under there and you hold the button and it comes out literally already mixed. So I filled a cup up and, you know, thinking, well, let's try this. Let's see. You know, took a sip. Like, okay, that's not bad. I am a coffee drinker, but I can't really deal with, like, if it's like too much, like too much coffee flavor. You know, like it has to be, because I can't do a black at all. I just can't. You know, got sick of it a while back. Like if I do coffee, I literally have to flavor the hell out of it. But candy bar flavored coffee, can't go wrong with that at all. But so on that note, hopefully you guys liked today's topic. And again, kind of kept it short and sweet. I guess we're still about a half hour, so it's not bad. You know. But you know, again, you know, if you have any feedback on, or you want to answer today's questions, you know, like what's your favorite candy bar, or you just a candy in general, but not necessarily a candy bar. Like let's say, my wife's big on the, I think they're called Nerds Gummy Clusters. Those are pretty good, but yeah, those kick the hell out of my my blood sugar as well. That doesn't take much. I can literally have like one sweet snack, and then 4 hours later I'm getting a Farina, and my blood sugar is still in the 200s. Like crap. So it's one of those where I'm like, I really want it, but I know I shouldn't. So I have to be careful with it. Have to, you know, do my best. But sometimes you just gotta, you know. Sometimes you gotta give it, you know. That's the thing. Once I'm able to actually accomplish what I'm after with becoming a published author, and you know, get the online entrepreneurial. Try to say that 10 times fast. You know, stuff off the ground or whatever, and I actually can retire myself, get myself off the road, be home full time working on the writing stuff, all that, you know, all that fun stuff. Then obviously I'll be able to get in the gym, be able to eat healthier and stuff. I mean, I try to eat as healthy as I can right now, but with my work schedule, you fellow truckers, you know what I'm talking about. You know, we do the best we can, but you know, there's days when all you have available to you is crap food. I mean, the way I try to work on that is basically I actually bring meal prep stuff with me out here, which is basically like those stuffed chicken breasts, like the cordon bleus or the chicken Kiev, and then quinoa, and then basically random. Used to do green beans, but now, or like the French style green beans, but now I'd actually do the these bags that have the broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots with cheese sauce. So again, like pretty entertaining episode this week. I hope, because like talking about food. What do you know? That's why I laughed. And Rico was like, "How the hell did we start talking about all this candy? Like, I don't understand. How do we?" I was like, "I have no idea." It's like one voice split led to another. Before we know it, we're talking about all the different candy bars we've had, and eating the candy bars in a certain way, and like it, you know. And I said, yeah. So I guess we're Twixers, you know, because we eat the Twix by biting off the top half. So anyway, guys, I think I'll leave you guys with that. You know, I think we talked probably enough about good old sweets. You know, hopefully I inspired your sweet tooth. Maybe you're gonna go and go pick up your favorite candy bar or whatever, or your favorite kind of candy. Whether, because again, like, it doesn't have to be a candy bar. It could be like, you know, my favorite could be like the peanut butter cup. You know, those are freaking awesome. But anyway, guys, for the random stuff, for anybody who wants to learn how to do what I do as far as digital marketing stuff goes, be part of a community and step-by-step video instruction, video guidance, go to blodgettshow.com/freedom. If you'd like to see a cooking course that I have, if you want to master your culinary skills, go to blodgettshow.com/masterchef. If you're an affiliate marketer and you want to master you want to, you know, kind of like hone in and master those, you know, improve those affiliate marketing skills, go to blodgettshow.com/affiliate. But on that note, guys, as I always say, keep pushing forward, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. But you know how it is, we only fail if we quit, give up, and walk away. So as long as you continue to get back up, continue to do what you gotta do, you're not a failure. And as always, guys, I'm trying to get, you know, do this a lot more. By this I mean express my gratitude for you guys. I very much appreciate you guys taking the time to kind of hang out with me today. Really appreciate it. This podcast wouldn't be what it is today without you guys. And so, on that note, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And I look forward to you guys hanging out with me on Friday when we do the next installment of the Storytime Friday episodes. We're going to have part 2 of the last story you guys just heard, which is the Spontaneous Life Shift Part 1. Gonna have that, you know, gonna be closing it out next on Friday. Looking forward to doing that. Then, of course, the following week, what we're gonna do, a special treat for you guys, is we're gonna have Part 1 and 2 basically both together. So last Friday you guys had Part 1. This upcoming Friday you're gonna have Part 2, and then you're gonna hear and then we're gonna have the whole story all in one episode. Sorry about that, guys. Got a little bit of a itch in my throat, but kind of, you can say the past like 3 or 4 or whatever days kind of been fighting off, I believe, the cold bug that my grandson had. Feel a little bit better today, but I noticed that the last couple of days it was like freaking sniffles. You know, and so basically I'm like, yeah, I need any chance I get to sleep, I'm trying to make sure I'm getting enough rest, you know. Drinking enough water, getting enough sleep. So, you know, just gotta do what we gotta do, you know. Just gotta go out there and, you know, be getting enough rest, be getting enough water, you know. Just do what you can to do the best you can, you know. So, anyway, guys, on that note, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys again on Friday for the next Storytime Friday. On that note, you guys have a good one, and we'll talk to you then. Later.